At 8:13 this morning, the moon quietly crossed into the final sign of the entire zodiac. Not a dramatic sign, the softest one. Pisces doesn't announce itself the way Leo or Aries does. It dissolves things instead. And today, on the very last day of July, after a week that gave us a retrograde Saturn, a nodal shift, a full moon, and a rare cazimi, the sky finally exhales into the one sign built entirely for letting go. Here's what that actually means and why ending the month here isn't a coincidence. At 8:13 a.m. Eastern, the moon left Aquarius and entered Pisces, closing out its journey through all 12 signs for this lunar month. The sun continues through Leo, still loosely connected to Jupiter. Their exact conjunction happened 2 days ago. And the orb of that influence finally closes tomorrow, August 1st. Venus continues through Virgo, and its square to Mars exact 2 days ago is also fading out of range by August 3rd. Mercury moves through Cancer, now clear of its retrograde shadow's tightest grip, entering a stretch of easier, more cooperative aspects with several signs starting today. Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto remain retrograde in Aries, and Aquarius. Pisces is the 12th and final sign of the zodiac, and that position isn't just numerical trivia. Astrologers have read it for centuries as the sign where every other sign's unfinished business gets absorbed and dissolved before the wheel starts over. Where Aquarius, the sign the moon just left, looks outward toward ideas and community. Pisces turns inward and downward into feeling, intuition, and surrender. Its ruling planet is Neptune, the planet of dreams and dissolving boundaries, which happens to be retrograde right now, sitting in Aries, meaning Neptune itself is currently far from home, while the moon spends the next 2.5 days visiting Neptune's own sign directly. There's a real symbolic weight to landing here, specifically today, the last day of July. This week gave us some of the most concentrated astrological activity of the entire year. Saturn's retrograde station, the lunar nodes shifting onto a fresh 8-year axis, a full moon paired with a rare Jupiter cazimi, all within about 72 hours. Pisces, the sign built for absorbing and processing rather than initiating, is exactly the kind of place a sky needs to land after a stretch like that. It's less a new event and more the zodiac's built-in decompression chamber. And the countdown we mentioned yesterday hasn't gone anywhere. The total solar eclipse in Leo is now 12 days out, on August 12th. The same eclipse that last showed up in a similar form in 2017 as the Great American Eclipse conjunct the fixed star Regulus. Today's soft, dissolving moon in Pisces is the quiet middle of that countdown, the low point of the wave before it builds toward the eclipse again. Forget the labels for a second. Here's what today does to an actual person in plain terms. The moon entering Pisces is permission to stop analyzing and just feel. After a week of sharp, eventful transits, today's energy is genuinely softer. Less about figuring things out and more about letting your nervous system catch up with everything it's been processing. What to do if you've been trying to logically work through an emotion all week? Today is a better day to just sit with it instead. Not every feeling needs an explanation before you're allowed to have it. The closing of the Sun-Jupiter and Venus-Mars aspects is a wrap it up gently signal. Both of these influences have been shaping the last several days, and both fade out of range within the next few days. What to do if a burst of confidence or a flash of relationship friction from earlier this week hasn't fully resolved? Don't force closure today. Let it fade on its own timeline rather than manufacturing an ending. Mercury easing into friendlier aspects is a genuine, practical relief. Communication, negotiation, and planning all get measurably easier starting today and continuing for the next week and a half. What to do if there's a conversation or a piece of paperwork you've been putting off because your head hasn't felt clear enough? This is a good window to actually tackle it. Ending the month in the zodiac's final sign is a natural checkpoint, whether or not you consciously mark it. Cultures and calendars have always found meaning in month endings as small resets. What to do? Before August starts, take 5 honest minutes to notice what from July you're carrying forward, and what you're ready to let dissolve the way Pisces dissolves everything it touches. A Pisces moon also tends to blur the line between what's yours and what belongs to someone else emotionally. This is the sign most prone to absorbing the mood of a room without meaning to. What to do if you suddenly feel heavier or more tender than the day warrants? Check whether it's actually your feeling or one you picked up secondhand from someone near you today. Dreams and half-formed ideas carry more weight today than usual. Pisces governs the imagination and the subconscious, and a Pisces moon tends to make sleep more vivid and daydreams more persistent. What to do? If a strange idea or image keeps resurfacing today, write it down instead of dismissing it. It may be your mind quietly processing something the week's busier signs didn't give you room to notice. Boundaries feel a little more porous today, for better and worse. It may be easier to say yes to things you normally decline, or harder to protect your own time from someone else's request. What to do? If someone asks something of you today, give yourself a beat before answering. Since Pisces makes generosity easy but doesn't always ask if you can actually afford it. Creative and spiritual practices land differently today than practical ones do. Whatever usually helps you feel grounded through art, music, journaling, or quiet reflection will likely work better today than a to-do list will. What to do? If your productivity feels lower than usual, don't fight it. Redirect the day towards something reflective, instead of forcing output that isn't coming easily. Put together, the human experience of today is this: you're less in figure-it-out mode and more in let-it-settle mode, whether or not the week's intensity has fully caught up with you yet. Communication genuinely gets a little easier starting today, which is a real, practical relief after weeks of Mercury's retrograde fog. Boundaries between your feelings and everyone else's feel thinner than usual, so it's worth pausing before assuming every emotion in the room today originated with you. Whatever you dreamed last night or find yourself daydreaming about this afternoon is probably worth paying attention to rather than brushing aside as random. Your usual productivity metrics may not apply well today, and that's not a personal failing, it's simply the wrong day to measure yourself by them. Something you thought you'd already processed from earlier this month might quietly resurface, not to set you back, but to finally finish being felt. Saying yes will come easily today, so it's worth a small pause before agreeing to anything that will cost you more than you're currently accounting for. Rest will do more for you today than almost anything else on your list, even the tempting, urgent feeling things. Something you thought you'd already processed from earlier this month might quietly resurface, not to set you back, but to finally finish being felt. Saying yes will come easily today, so it's worth a small pause before agreeing to anything that will cost you more than you're currently accounting for. Rest will do more for you today than almost anything else on your list, even the tempting, urgent feeling things. And underneath all of it sits the quiet, almost imperceptible sense that July is closing one chapter, while a bigger one, the eclipse in less than 2 weeks, is still patiently being written offstage. Most people will simply feel today as soft, low-key, maybe a little foggy or dreamy in a pleasant way, without connecting that feeling to the moon sitting in the one sign built for exactly that. That softness isn't laziness or a lull, it's the specific, necessary quiet a system needs after carrying this much charge for an entire week. Every wheel needs one point where it lets go before it turns again. Today, the moon found that point. Whatever this month asked of you, it's allowed to end softly here, before August asks something entirely different of you. Come back August 12th, the eclipse in Leo lands in 12 days, and this soft Pisces pause is the last quiet moment before it.